Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Julie586, posted May 31st, 2016. Me, 22 female, with my fellow student, 22 female, is trying to blackmail me into writing her thesis. I'm at my wit's end with this very effed up situation with my fellow student Danielle. I'll be a bit vague here because a lot of my friends use Reddit. Danielle and I are in college. We're both working on our bachelor's degree. We started out as friends, but our relationship got a bit weird. She was often acting very entitled and like I had to cater to her every need. She would also scream at me often, especially when we were out partying. Because of that, I decided to not spend any more time with her around last Christmas. However, in the 2 years I was friends with her, she naturally learned a lot about me. Some of these things could definitely get me into legal trouble. I haven't talked to Danielle in a few months, but I heard that she's having trouble keeping up with her courses. Some weeks ago, she showed up at my place, drunk, and told me that she expects me to write her thesis. It's a 50-page essay we have until July to hand in, and it will be crucial to finishing our degree. Or else, she will tell everyone, including the police, about the stuff I did. And yes, she also has proof. I thought it was a stupid joke, or that she was just super drunk, until I came home yesterday and found a note from her saying the exact same thing, and a USB stick with her working title and some ebooks I should include in my writing. Reddit, what do I do here? Write the damn thing for her? Don't and risk her going to the police? I can't really risk that though. She could get me in serious trouble. I've spoken to one friend of mine and he told me to write it, but write it badly. I don't know if that's such a good idea. Also, I still have to finish up my own thesis. I have no idea if I will even be able to write hers in time. Too long didn't read, fellow college student knows some things about me that could get me into serious trouble. She now wants me to write a 50-page essay for her. How do I avoid this? Edit, I was hoping I didn't have to say what I did, but here it goes. I had a short fling with one of the assistant professors. He didn't know I was a student there though. It was a complicated situation. Anyway, I got my hands on some exam sheets and sent them to several friends, including Danielle. So her proof is that email with the attachment. It's pretty solid proof. I sent it from my spam email address that I normally don't use, which doesn't have my name in it, but I'm sure they could backtrack it with IP addresses and so on. There is no way I will come clean to the university, as I will probably get expelled. I should also add that in the note I got from her, she is explicitly accusing me of that, with name of the course, date of the exam, so I am very reluctant to show it to anyone. Relevant comments. Cortisoft comments. Nah, they can't backtrack it to find the IP. I'm a network engineer with a lot of experience with email. Whoever is your email provider, i.e. Google if you use Gmail, would have logs of the IP addresses you were using when you send your emails and your IP addresses for when you check your email. How long they keep those logs varies from provider to provider, but it isn't going to be something they keep for years. The person and email provider you send email to, however, would not know your IP address. They only know the IP of your email provider. Let's say you committed a serious crime. The cops would have to go to your provider, say Gmail, with a warrant and ask for the IP addresses you access the email from. Then, they would have to find which ISP controls those IP addresses and ask them who those addresses were assigned to at that time. Again, that is not data they hold on to forever. Lastly, they would have to find out which person was using the address. If you were in a shared apartment, or were accessing a public Wi-Fi, that would be impossible. The cops aren't going to do this for something as minor as academic fraud, which is probably not even a crime, merely an honor code violation. And Google, or whoever your email provider is, isn't going to turn that data over without a warrant. I would not worry about your IP being tracked. Use your tangential diversion comments. Blackmail is illegal. Googling state name plus blackmail law should give you the relevant laws. If you have proof she was going to blackmail you into writing some kind, e.g. text, then kindly inform her to fuck off. Update, June 2nd, 2016, 2 days later. Hi everyone, and thanks so much for all your great advice in my original post. A quick too long didn't read of the original post. A fellow student is trying to blackmail me into writing her thesis if I didn't. She said she would tell everyone what I did, sleep with an assistant professor, and send a picture of some exam sheets to friends. First off, I wanted to clarify something because there seems to be a misunderstanding regarding my edit in the original post. The exam sheets I sent to my friends were of a completely unrelated course, and we didn't actually use them. So there was no cheating involved or something. Here's what happened, and I'm aware this makes me look super stupid. I met a guy, let's call him Tom, at the place where I work part-time. He asked me out on a date, and we had 3 dates as a whole. He obviously thought I worked full-time at that place we met. He, on the other hand, told me he was a researcher, maybe because it sounds more exciting than being a professor at 28, or maybe he's both. I know it might sound unbelievable that me being a student never came up, but we both had traveled a bit and mainly talked about that. After 3 dates, I slept at his place for the first time, and when he went to buy breakfast in the morning, I looked around a bit in his apartment, and there were some exam sheets on his desk. There was one with the answer key, and then some exams that were already taken by students, so he was correcting those tests. I texted a friend of mine, not Danielle. "Oh shit, I think he's a professor." A friend texts back, "No way, he's too young. Proof?" She had seen pictures of him. I then took a picture of the answer sheet and sent an email to 4 friends of mine, including Danielle, writing something really douchey along the lines of, "This is how you get yourself through college," or something. It was supposed to be funny, but I cringed typing that. I realize now that I was actually super lucky because I lost my iPhone that week and had to use an old phone of mine without WhatsApp, where the email app was not linked to my college email address. So that's why I didn't just send the pic via app, but had to send it over email with my old spam email address. I hadn't used that address in at least 5 years, and that was the only time I used it because the next day, I got my iPhone back. Also, just as a side note, when Tom came back from getting breakfast, I said I had to go because I had classes. He looked pretty shocked, then I told him I only work at workplace part-time and I'm also a student. He just said goodbye, and that's the last I ever saw him, or heard of him. So we never contacted each other again. I later found him on the website's homepage. He is indeed a professor, but for a completely different course. Like if I would study communications and he would teach microbiology. I hope this makes him look less like a predator, as some comments have called him. So the thing Danielle has on me is actually not cheating on a test, but sleeping with a professor and taking pics of exam sheets, even though completely unrelated to my courses, as a proof of being at his place / presumably sleeping with him. Now that I think of it though, she doesn't really have evidence on that. The picture I took only shows the piece of paper on a wooden desk. I could have found it on campus or something. She also knows of smoking weed, but as many of you have pointed out, that's not something the police would be interested in. Anyway, I read through all your comments. Some of you said that she would incriminate herself by outing me because she cheated on an exam. Well, that wouldn't be the case, but everyone seems to agree that IP address tracking doesn't work the way I imagined, so she doesn't really have anything on me. Right? I still don't really want to go to the police, especially because of Tom, because he's a genuinely nice guy. I actually thought about contacting him again after I finished my degree, but don't know if that's a good idea. I'm still afraid if Danielle went to the college or police just saying that a professor was sleeping with a student, they wouldn't even need any evidence and still launch an investigation because it's such a touchy subject. So I'm not sure about that. I think the best course of action would be to write Danielle something like this. "Hello, Danielle. Unfortunately, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have never sent out any exam answers, but what you're doing sounds a lot like blackmail, which is illegal to my knowledge. For the sake of our old friendship, I will not directly go to the police for now, as I'm suspecting you didn't really mean what you said in your note. I heard that Tutor is great at helping students get started with their thesis, and I'm sure he can help you. What do you think? Or just ignore. I also talked to the other 3 girls involved, and they all deleted the email, and they're not in contact with Danielle anymore. I don't think I need to worry about them. Too long didn't read. Not sure if I should deny or ignore Danielle completely. Relevant comments, Teardrop 87. Quit trying to play nice here. Take the thumb drive she gave you and all the communications you have from her to the professor in charge of the thesis. Tell them exactly what she wants to do. And tell them she's saying she'll tell everyone you slept with the professor and stole answers for a test while he was grading them. You did neither of those things. But you know what those kinds of accusations can do to a student, much less whatever professor she decides you slept with. Ask what they plan to do about it, because there's no way you're writing her thesis. But you don't want to get in trouble for something you didn't do. OP responds, I think that's actually a good idea. In my last thread, many people told me to just deny everything, but it seems I didn't really do anything illegal, and I think she actually deserves to have this brought to the attention of her professor. Comment from user Random Pants, appear! I then took a pic of the answer sheet and sent an email to 4 friends of mine, including Danielle, writing something really douchey along the lines of, this is how you get yourself through college or something. It was supposed to be funny, but I cringed typing that. This is seriously what this is all about? Yeah, your reply works, but why were you ever taking this seriously? I doubt the professor would even get in trouble. He didn't know you were a student, you weren't in his field, and he stopped immediately after finding out. Both of you can corroborate this. This girl has so little on you, I'm amazed you even took it seriously. OP responds, I'm really relieved. Danielle and my group of friends have been giving me shit for this ever since it happened, pretending like it's the most disgusting thing in the world to sleep with an older guy and always making jokes about him/us going to jail for it. Edit. Okay, seems like I actually did nothing wrong, or at least nothing illegal. I'm not going to reply to Danielle, and I'm heading over to her professor in an hour to tell him about the blackmail. Then maybe take it to the dean. Still unsure if I should give Tom a heads up, but I think I'm just gonna leave him out of this. Also, I haven't seen him in months, so not sure how he would react. Edit 2. So, I just came back from the professor, Danielle's thesis advisor. I told him I was being blackmailed by Danielle to write her thesis because of a short relationship with a professor from another department. I looked it up. As long as the professor doesn't have to grade you, it's actually okay. He said something along the lines of, that's interesting because she already missed the first deadline, or something. I had planned to go to the dean, but he then took me to the department head instead of explaining the problem to him. But he left out the part with the blackmail. He just said, the student was asked to write another student's thesis. He was also really angry about the whole thing. Later, I was alone with the department head, and he asked why she would think I would write the thesis for her, and I told him the same thing I told the professor about the blackmail. Now, the department head actually asked me who I had this relationship with, and I said I wasn't comfortable to say, but he was from another department altogether, and that was it. I left the USB with them, so I don't really have anything to go to the police with, but they said they would take matters into their own hands now, and I shouldn't worry about it anymore. And when I asked if I should go to the police, they said no. I don't know. I then went to Tom's office. I was super nervous about talking to him, but I just wanted to let him know, in case Danielle said anything crazy. So I got there, and he was pretty surprised to see me, and I kinda told him the whole thing. I didn't mention the pics though, and he reacted pretty okay. He told me he was sorry he never called again, but when I said I was a student, he kinda panicked and deleted all our texts and my number. And then he talked to his head of department, who told him it's actually no big deal. But then he had already deleted my number. Then I asked him if he wanted my number again. And he said he has a girlfriend now, so that was pretty embarrassing, but I kinda laughed it off, and here we are. I blocked Danielle, by the way. So this pretty much boils down to OP just being way too naive and only having a grasp of what's illegal and wrong, probably through TV. Same goes for their understanding of technology. When she said there was evidence of her doing something illegal, I was expecting it to maybe be doing drugs on campus or to be involved in something like destruction of property. But instead it was just, you hooked up with a professor who wasn't in your department and sent kind of a really poor-tasted joke that looks worse on you than it does anything else. And now you're being blackmailed for it. And the cherry on top that, like, Danielle just totally fucked up her thesis in the first place and didn't even hit the first deadline, so she was screwed anyways. Potentially, depending on the department. But also, I 100% blame a lot of, like, cop and crime shows for just how little actual technology is understood. I think it's done on purpose so that way people think that like police have more power than they actually have when it comes to your devices and purposely like obfuscating what they can and can't do when it comes to the devices you use. Because if you're in America, the Fourth Amendment applies to your electronics, by the way. Like, they need a warrant to access your device, and they need a warrant to get your password. So if your phone's locked, they need a warrant to get the password from you. You don't have to do shit. Like, despite what cop shows might say, they can't just trace your IP address on most things. That really only works in a peer-to-peer connection or person-to-person, where you're directly talking to someone without a third party involved. And by a third party, I mean like Gmail, Facebook Messenger, those kind of services. I am 100% just giving the cliff notes here, and I'm sure there is someone who is far more qualified who can correct me. Unless you are using your own personal email server, most email services work more like a PO box than they do an actual sending mail from your address. Because what the receiver gets is just the fact that it came from a PO box that's in like a post office store. They don't really know where you are or where it came from exactly. They just know that if they want to reach you, they gotta send it addressed to you towards this IP address or this post office box. That's all they really know. So you can't really just track an IP address from an email because you're just gonna get the post office box or, in this case specifically, the IP address of your email provider. I hope that explanation kind of works as to why you can't just track someone's IP address from a Gmail, let alone actually most services. Like, there are definitely going to be holes in this explanation, but hopefully this just makes a bit more sense as to why OP's initial fears weren't founded. I 100% blame the tech monkeys in the CSI or NCIS or whatever cop show you're going to be watching where they break your Fourth Amendment rights on a daily basis. It's like, don't worry, I found their IP address by surfing through the subdomains of the dark web to figure out where exactly these messages are being sent through the subnet. These idiots left their DNS exposed. Or just basically techno-babble like that sounds really smart, but in all actuality just doesn't make any goddamn sense whatsoever and is just laughable by how far off basis it actually is. Also, if anyone works with networking or has a better understanding of it than I do, please don't be afraid to explain it better in the comments below, because I know my P.O. Box analogy can only go so far. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." The original OP is Gentle Glowing Soul, posted March 18th, 2026. Am I the asshole for saying no when my sister-in-law asked for my husband's nieces and nephews to put on a performance at our wedding? My husband and I are having our ceremony later in the year. My sister-in-law has asked my husband if his nieces and nephews can put on a performance at our wedding. I personally feel like with the way our wedding is planned, having them do some type of performance just doesn't fit in at any point. It's not a traditional wedding, and we have changed a lot about the way the ceremony will be performed. Another point is that these are children. They're all under 10 years old. I feel like this will come across as more talent showy, and I just can't see it happening in any way that's fitting for a wedding. I was also shocked that she'd ask for something like that. She's never asked about our wedding plans. My husband asked for my thoughts privately, and I immediately said no. I expressed that due to his family's history with him, I would not be accommodating to them. Probably ever. They have a history of taking advantage of my husband's kindness, especially when it comes to his nieces and nephews. I've been very clear about my boundaries from the beginning. He understands and respects it. He also began drawing his own boundaries, and I'm so proud of him for that. I'm admittedly very guarded, but my immediate gut feeling was that she was asking for this for selfish reasons. I'm not sure why, but this request doesn't sit right with me, especially with her lack of interest in our entire wedding. My husband sees it differently. He thinks it was an innocent request. I'm seeing the overall picture, but he's just considering the request so it may seem innocent. I would have been fine with it if my husband wanted it, or even the kids. I've asked my best friend, 2 cousins, and my cousin's girlfriend. They all said it was a weird request. However, they might be biased. I just need some outside perspective. Am I the asshole for saying no? Edit for further context. I tried not to include too many details as the people involved use Reddit, but fuck it. She asked for them to perform a dance. They aren't dancers. I asked my husband if they could, and he said they're like a 4 out of 10. This furthered my bewilderment. I don't dictate his boundaries, I just make mine clear. My in-laws are complicated. I've watched them use and take my husband for granted for years. I'll start with his parents. They're racist. They had a terrible reaction when he showed them my photo. They've also used him to support the entire household while allowing his brother to be verbally abusive towards him. He's cut that off and doesn't interact with his brother, who is also racist. His sister, the one who asked, used him as an on-call babysitter for years. My husband would work from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, only for his sister to drop her kids off on a Friday night and expect him to babysit until whenever. I listened to him vent about this until I sat him down and explained he was allowing it. He's since cut that out completely and only helps his mom with the kids now and then. She also knowingly made terrible choices in who she procreated with. So she has no help from the father. That is an entire story on its own. My husband has been very open about wanting to cut down contact with his family and not have them too involved in our lives once we close on our home. I would never dictate how he should interact with them. We've both been clear about managing our own families, and he's been very, very open about not tolerating their bullshit. It's a huge shift from what they're accustomed to, and it's been almost 2 years since he made that change. Edit, March 20th, 2026. Also, for typos, a couple of You're the Asshole voters have taken to my DMs to message me hateful, vile things. To those people, seek help. Therapy works wonders. My husband and I plan to update when we can, as he's also perplexed by this request and does not want this at all. He's going to talk to her and let her know he doesn't want it. He's never wanted it, and he was just as baffled by all this as I was. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Are you doing a family brunch the day after? Offer to have them do it then, just not part of the wedding. OP responds, we are doing a family get-together after. I did say I wouldn't mind it then, but he hasn't mentioned it to her. Commenter 2. Is there a compromise? Could they perform at the rehearsal dinner or some other pre-event? During the cocktail hour when you're focused on photos? OP responds, I did tell my husband that they could do it at the family brunch the day after. I thought that was a good compromise, but he's almost certain that the kids have no interest in any of this. I adore them, and I would absolutely be on board if they wanted to do it the day after. Commenter 3. I'd strongly recommend couples counseling to cement those boundaries, especially your soon-to-be husband, since he's been known to fold when it comes to his family. It's really tough to break those realities. In regards to your sister-in-law's wild and obnoxious request, it sounds like she wants to be the center of attention because she'll certainly be the director of this potential shit show. Are you having a child-free wedding? This could also be an end run around the child-free rule. I, 62 female, would urge you to simply tell her you don't need or want any entertainment. Just the simple event you and your fiancé have already planned. Word of caution though, hire security and tell your DJ or band not to give her or the kids the stage. Congratulations on your upcoming nuptials and the new home. Make sure you install a good security system with lots of cameras. Families like the ones you're describing your in-laws to be rarely accept negative to them boundaries. Even less when you attempt low or no contact. Good luck. OP responds, we're currently in couples counseling. He doesn't fold, just says, okay, and ignores them and does whatever he wants. They've tried forcing it, but it doesn't work since he literally won't allow them to disrupt whatever he wants to do. We aren't having a child-free wedding, but we have organized lots of stuff to keep the kids occupied and entertained. Thank you. We do not tell them anything about our decisions or how we work as a couple. They have very little insight into our relationship based on their own reactions to me being mixed-raced and how they've treated my husband. I'm curious to see how they react to very, very, very low contact. OP responds to a comment on going no contact with her in-laws. OP responds, thank you for your kind words. I'd like to go no contact, but his mom had a heart attack, so he checks on her. Currently, my mom is undergoing chemo and radiation for a rare form of cancer, but we can't even confide in them. They're just not people I can ever trust. Commenter 4. Not the asshole. It's okay for people to ask things, and it's okay to say no. It's how they accept your no that'll be telling. Personally, I feel like this is the sister-in-law's attempt to 1. Entertain the kids during the wedding, and 2. Shift the spot to her kids. Is she one of those moms? If it's the former, she should accept your no graciously. OP responds, we have organized a lot of stuff to keep the kids entertained during the wedding. If she had asked, we would have shared our plans. There was no interest on her part though. She does like to make her kids a spectacle sometimes, and I think it's very tacky. I love her kids. They're very sweet, but ultimately, she does use them to try and manipulate people, unfortunately. Commenter 5. Has anyone even asked the kids if they want to dance? Many that age would freeze and be miserable, if not flat out humiliated. OP responds, the kids have never shown any interest in dancing like this. The youngest is a Velcro toddler who cries if she isn't with her mom or dad. One nephew is autistic and is very shy, so he wouldn't do well with the spotlight on him. It just seems like a recipe for disaster. Update, June 21st, 2026, 3 months later. A few people have since asked for me to update. Here are the final developments. I did show this post to my husband. I'll be calling the problematic sister PS. My husband, we are legally married, but decided on having our ceremony and reception later in the year due to my mom undergoing chemo and radiation therapy for a rare type of cancer, sat down with his nieces and nephews and asked them directly if they were interested in doing a dance. They all said no. The oldest one actually said that would be cringe. Cringe emoji. He asked if any of them had asked to do a dance or any type of performance at the wedding. They all said no again. Knowing this, my husband felt comfortable saying no as the kids didn't even want this. He broached the topic with PS in the car so it could be discussed privately. He said, hey, about the dance, I've decided on no. PS started raising her voice, asking him why. He said he just didn't want it. She flipped out and started shouting at him. She accused him of not loving her kids anymore. He asked her why would she think that. She said because he won't babysit for her and it's hindering her life. My husband just asked if his sister didn't think that it was hindering our lives having to be her on-call babysitter and that he had no part in making her kids. His sister screamed at him that he was selfish for not allowing them to do a dance and that not everything is about us. Not everything is about us. On our wedding day. She also accused him of playing favorites with regards to me and her kids. She has obviously lost the fucking plot. He told his sister that he knew the kids didn't even want to do anything like that. That this was all about her and her need for attention. He also asked her how he could be playing favorites because I'm literally his wife. She was full on screaming, frothing at the mouth, raging at him about how he was ruining her life, that he was selfish and a terrible uncle. He just told her to pull over, and he got out of the car. He took an Uber back to his cousin's house and ended up telling his parents what happened with his sister. His parents instantly started reasoning with him to make peace with his sister because she's just like that. He just said no, and he walked away from them. When he told me what happened, I was stunned because what the fuck is she on? I adore his nieces and nephews, but his sister is fucking unhinged. She blocked me on WhatsApp, like I even care. She also deleted his contact, but didn't block him so he wouldn't see her profile picture or statuses. She then made sure he overheard her saying this to a cousin. This woman is 40 years old. It's so embarrassing. My husband at that point fully saw the situation from my perspective. This was never an innocent ask. She eventually calmed down, unblocked us, and tried to start communication with us again. We were gray rocking her. Our wedding day came and it was perfect. His other sister was so happy for us, and she complimented everything. She was very impressed with how well done and well thought out our wedding was. She thanked me for getting toys, books, and having an activity area for all the kids. She said she knew it was a woman's touch. That was a really nice moment. The problematic sister was extremely reserved most of the day. She did not speak to us at all, but she proceeded to wail like a banshee during the ceremony. She even went to the washroom in the middle of it because she was so overwhelmed by her emotions. We literally did not pay her any mind. We couldn't see anything else but each other in that moment. The kids were very happy. They danced with everyone else, and no one else paid any mind to problematic sister either. His parents seemed very happy for us, and his father spoke to me privately and said he knows I make his son happy, and that's all he wants. His mother was also reserved, but she was exceedingly happy to show off pictures because our wedding lived up to her standards, I guess. We are going to be gray-rocking problematic sister without sacrificing the nieces and nephews. We really do love them and care for them. Relevant comments! Commenter 1. The in-laws sound like they could also do with a bit of gray-rocking since they so easily sided with the problematic sister. I'm glad it went well. OP responds, we are also gray-rocking them. He checks in with his mom mostly because she had a health scare earlier this year, although she lost some sympathy when she asked him how much money he spent on my engagement ring. Tired eyes emoji. Also, just in case for those of you who may not know what gray rocking is, that's when you essentially give them the same emotions as a gray rock. You're being as boring and as unengaging as possible. OP on her sister-in-law, the problematic sister. Basically, she was the side piece for the father of her kids. She concocted this whole idea that if she got pregnant, he would leave his partner. He told her to abort, she didn't. Sis number 2 got pregnant, and although problematic sister had the first grandchild, she was jealous of the attention sister number 2 got. She decided to double and triple down and get pregnant a few more times to retain the attention as well as try to lock down the father. Every single time he told her to abort, he told her she was a convenient hole, essentially for him. She just was on the highest level of denial I've ever heard of. She kept thinking that he would come around. Now she's got kids for a deadbeat who couldn't care less about their well-being. He does not see them, and he does not pay CS child support. The lights are on, but nobody is home. Commenter 2. Obviously, the sister-in-law wanted someone/anyone to give her attention when she went to the bathroom. OP responds, my mother-in-law followed her out, so she got whatever she needed in that moment. Laughing, crying emoji. Commenter 3. She was full on screaming, frothing at the mouth, raging at him about how he was ruining her life. Since she's still going to be a part of y'all's life, you'll have to step it up from gray rocking her. Wailing in the restroom during the wedding? Oh my god. Problematic sister and your mother-in-law will definitely be a problem in your future, but yay, congratulations on the wedding. OP responds, oh, we know. We said we won't be telling them where we're moving to. Funny enough, his other sister hinted that we should move far away from my in-laws. We're going to be at least 1 hour away. Where does the other sister live? She moved to Florida. We're in Canada. Commenter 4. The mother-in-law likely created the problematic sister adult monster. She probably treated her special over her brother her whole life. You never said, I suppose she doesn't have a husband, so she's jealous you've taken away her brother. Husbands stand in sometimes. OP responds, she does not. She was the other woman and got pregnant on purpose trying to trap the father of her kids. I told my husband that she's jealous, and he was so disgusted. She actually was jealous of sister number 2's first pregnancy, so she got pregnant again. It's so sad. OP on her husband's siblings. OP. His brother is a raging racist alcoholic. He was not invited to her wedding, so he did not attend. My husband is very kind, quiet, and just generally likable. Like golden retriever energy. His sister, we are fairly certain, is a narcissist. I hate using that word, but like, the shoe fits. Who even acts like that? We're no longer trying to do anything with her. We actually don't speak to her at all. We don't answer calls or messages. We greet everyone as a group if she's there, but don't share much info with any of his family members. She's being grade rock as a group. Laughing, crying emoji. OP on if she and her husband can go no contact with the problematic sister. OP responds, unfortunately life isn't black and white. My husband still wants a relationship with his nieces and nephews and his one normal sibling and her kids. This means that we have to put up with the crazy sister, but on our terms. He wasn't aware his parents were racists until me. They're really good at masking it. That went out the window when their son happened to fall in love with a mixed-race woman though. I can't begin to untangle how that must feel for him. He told them he won't tolerate any hate towards any one of them, and he's VLC as it is. That's very limited contact, not VLC media player. We're not willing to sacrifice the kids because the adults around them are shitty people. Honestly, I can't even imagine looking someone in their eyes and just outright telling them, it's like you care about your wife more than my kids. Yes, because that's my wife. and those are your kids. Also, the cherry on top being the fact the kids wanted no part of what the sister was trying to put forward, of having them all do a dance in front of everyone at the wedding. Just 100% a ploy for attention. What I'm kind of shocked by, though, is that even if the kids did want to perform at the wedding, or like they were okay with performing at the wedding, how is OP the asshole for not wanting something to happen at her wedding? Especially when she was in agreement with her husband. Like, there were people so bent out of shape about that they DM'd the poster. Like, oh my god. In the end, though, congrats on the wedding going well, OP. Hopefully, you can continue gray rocking and, actually are able to have a healthy and drama-free future. I've come to learn that your day-to-day being drama-free is honestly one of the best things. I would rather have a boring day-to-day than constantly be stressed or dealing with drama, because that is just exhausting, and I've already gotten my fair share of it, and I just hope things stay boring. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Busted Him, Now What? Posted July 4th, 2018. I, 30 female, just found my fiancé, 30 male, on an online dating site. What do I do? My fiancé and I have been together a year and a half. We moved in with one another a few months ago. Lately, he's been a bit distant. I've been cheated on in the past and have been really insecure with his change in behavior. He has assured me he's just stressed about work, and because his car broke down a couple weeks ago, and he hasn't gotten a replacement yet. I couldn't let the nagging feeling go, so I did a little investigating. I didn't snoop in his phone or personal accounts, but I made a fake profile on a popular dating site and found him there. He was last online July 1st, 3 days ago. I don't know what to do. How do I confront him? What do I say? Can our relationship be saved? Do I even want to save it? I feel like I'm a wreck right now. Too long didn't read, fiancé has been distant lately. I did some digging on a popular online dating site and discovered he was active within the past week. What do I do next? Edit. Thank you, everyone. Further investigating is leading me to believe that it is an older profile. The pics aren't recent, and I can positively date 8 out of 9 of them to before our relationship. The last, I'm not sure on the date. I think that means a hacking/signing in to try and delete the thing scenario is a little more plausible. I don't think that in itself is enough to break up over, so I guess it is time to either confront or catfish. I'll post an update thread to let you know the outcome, whatever that may be. Relevant comments. Hoping to thrive. Don't marry someone who's still out there dating unless you're okay with an open relationship. If you confront him, he'll say, "It belongs to a friend. It was just a joke. I forgot I even had it." Test him out on the website and see if he's active or if it really does belong to someone else. OP responds, "I think that's what I'm going to do. I texted an old high school friend he's never seen pics of to ask if I could use hers for my profile." User Unredeemed1 comments, "Don't listen to people saying you should catfish him. That's very immature. Print out the profile and ask him to explain. His reaction will tell you what you need to know. If someone is using his photo online, I've seen this happen on Catfish, he'll be shocked and horrified. If it's actually him, 95% chance, he'll be uncomfortable, evasive, or give you a bullshit excuse. Then you can leave him." OP responds, "I'm 100% sure it's him. All the interests in favorite food, movies, music, plus life aspirations match. I just don't know when he wrote the profile. Not recent pics." User Frugity comments, "Catfish, catfish." Honestly though, if it were me, I would want to know for sure. If he denied it, and I believed whatever he said, I would always wonder if he was actually lying, and would have a hard time trusting him. Or if he denies it, and I didn't believe him, I would wonder if he was actually telling the truth. Who knows when he made it? I don't know why he would check it, but he could definitely be being sketchy. I tried to make a Tinder a couple weeks ago because I wanted to look at funny Tinder profiles. It was too complicated because I had to actually make a profile and I didn't want to do that, so I gave up. So with that in my head, I would want to see if he was really using it to talk to/meet up with someone. Edit 2. Well, people here are kinda split on it, but I took the advice to catfish. I need to know for sure. We'll update when/if anything comes up. Edit 3. Kind of a major update, his profile is gone. I'll be confronting him when he gets home from work. Edit 4. I just posted an update thread. Spoiler alert, he wasn't creeping. Update, July 8th, 2018, 4 days later. I posted a few days ago because I found my fiance on an online dating site. I took Reddit's advice and catfished him. A few hours after I sent the bait, I found that his profile had been deleted. When he came home from work, I showed him the screenshot and asked him what was up. Long story short, he was hanging out with his coworker, and the coworker was frustrated with figuring out how to navigate the same dating site. My fiance signed into his old account, opened in 2013, to try to help his friend figure it out. Apparently, a lot had changed on this particular site, and he realized that his knowledge on this site was too far out of date, so he logged out. And that was it. A few days later, he saw in his email that he had gotten a message from a woman on the site, and he then deleted his account. He obviously couldn't show me his dating site account, but he did volunteer to show me his email account with all the alerts from the site. The only woman that had messaged him recently was clearly my fake account. He also realized when we were looking through his email that he had an unused old profile on another dating site. He signed in and deleted that one in front of me. I fessed up about catfishing him. He wasn't upset at all, said he understood completely considering my history. He was more upset with himself for not realizing that his behavior would make me so insecure. I apologized for not trusting him and catfishing, and he apologized for being so distant lately and not deleting his dating profiles ages ago. He offered an open phone, social media, email policy between us in case we ever stumble across another trust but verify type of situation. Too long didn't read, it was an old profile. He signed in to try to help a friend figure out the app. He saw the message from my catfishing attempt, thought they were real, and deleted his profile. We talked it over. No one is mad. Life is good. Oh, great heavens, a best of where two people communicate like adults and actually work through a scenario and it turns out it's just a comical series of events. Oh, great heavens. What a goddamn breath of relief. Dude got so spooked he got like a message from another woman that he deleted his account. Damn. The timing is impeccable, I will say that. Like, the moment that he's just actively trying to help his friend with the dating profile, that's when she begins looking for it. That is definitely a one hell of a coincidence, but if that coincidence didn't happen, I don't think it would end up here in the first place. Now, as a general question, would catfishing your partner's dating profile, does that count as a relationship test, or is that trying to find the truth? I only bring that up because there are some people in the comments of the best of saying that it is a relationship test, but in my mind, relationship tests actively create a scenario to test your partner, while this catfishing is a reactive attempt to find the truth upon information that's been given to you. But I could 100% be off base with that there. Also, definitely check in with your partner and actually talk with them about what's currently going on. Because a lot of people I've noticed in relationships will just shut down and not speak about what's bothering them until it boils over and becomes a breaking point of the relationship, whether it's an external force or even an internal force. Don't be afraid to sit down every so often and just talk about things that are bothering you, how things are making you feel. Specifically feel, because the last thing you want to do is when trying to explain what's upsetting you, turning that into an accusation that they're doing this on purpose. When you're in a relationship, you're a team. Teams gotta work together. It's all about the teamwork. If you two are shutting each other down or not fully cooperating, well, things are gonna break down between you two. Honestly, I'm kind of drawing a blank right now for what to say for the outro. For Gamer Subs, I was drinking the new flavor Cosmic Mind Break that was released. It's like it's kind of grape, but like it also has like a mixed berry like front taste and like a grape aftertaste. So if you like grape, that's a pretty good one. I recommend using code OZ with Gamer Subs. Get you 10% off. And if you purchase another creator's items, like one of their flavors as an example, you actually support two creators at once. So you can support me by using code OZ, and you can support them by purchasing one of their affiliated products. And before you jump right in, you can always try some free samples out by using code OZ and having those shipped your way. Try out what they get you, see if it's your cup of tea, and then go from there. I know that I mentioned Gamer Subs pretty goddamn often, but at this point in time, because of how much you guys actually have been using code OZ, Gamer Subs almost pays all my bills now, which that's super fucking cool. So, of course, when I get a little bit of disposable income, the first thing I do is start upgrading my setup so I can start producing these at a more efficient rate. That and buying transformers. So that'll be fun. upgrading the office, not the Transformers. Not saying the Transformers won't be fun, but I'm more talking about the upgrading the office / like actually like, you know, improving the production quality for the videos will be fun. Anyways, everyone, I'll catch you all next time. Take care.